I think we might soon start to see a lot of deceased actors making a comeback, so long as their families give the permission for filmmakers to digitally resurrect them, that is. I'm not sure how I feel about that actually, but the reason I say this is because only recently has it been possible for CGI to believably recreate human faces. In the 2015 film Fast and Furious 7, the late Paul Walker, who had only filmed half the movie at the time of his death, was brought back using sophisticated visual effects by Weta. His two brothers stood in for many of his scenes to provide reference for the artists, and generally speaking, it's an impressive and respectful recreation of Paul Walker. A more recent example would be Peter Cushing's Grand Moff Tarkin being portrayed through the use of CGI in the 2016 film Rogue One. Actor Guy Henry provided the basic on-set performance and voice impersonation of Cushing, and generally speaking, ILM did amazing work, especially when you consider that Cushing died in 1994. The effects team were blessed to have an original face mold of Cushing to work off also. Similarly, they also made the late Carrie Fisher look 19 again in the final scene of the film. I would still argue that there's some way to go to make these effects perfect. There's still a bit of uncanny valley in places, especially when the characters speak. The mouth movements are just a little cartoonish or something. But I do know a lot of people who didn't realise that Tarkin was created using CGI. They actually believed that it was a real human actor playing the part. I think it's fair to say that the technology has come a long way since the horrendous Scorpion King scene in The Mummy Returns. Remember that one? The awful CGI Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Anyway, one of the earliest examples of de-aging would have been Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen in X-Men 3 The Last Stand from 2006. It was okay in places, but you could tell the effect needed significant refinement. In 2010, a 60-year-old Jeff Bridges was made to look the way he did in 1982 with this admirable de-aging attempt in Tron Legacy. In 2015's Terminator Genesis, the only impressive aspect of that film, in my view, was the de-aging of a then 68-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger to recreate the 1982 T-800 version of himself. It's far better than the 2009 attempt in Terminator Salvation. Without doubt, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has showcased current de-aging technology at its very best in a series of flashback scenes in several of the films. I was actually blown away by the opening scene in Ant-Man, when Michael Douglas is astonishingly made to look about 25 years younger as Dr. Pym. Again, the only part of it that's ever so slightly off is the mouth movements when the character talks, but I'm nitpicking here. It's actually near perfect in this scene. Another MCU example is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, in which Kurt Russell is de-aged to play Ego, the father of Peter Quill, in the 1980s. Apparently this effect was achieved not just with CGI, but also with sophisticated makeup effects applied to Russell's face. The result is 100% flawless. Nothing gives it away that this is a de-aging effect. You probably remember the astounding digital transformation that Robert Downey Jr. went through in Captain America Civil War, in which Tony Stark is made to look like he's in his late teens or early 20s. In one shot, both young and older Stark can be seen in the same shot, and this really shows how much work went into this effect. And the MCU continues to be the movie franchise that pioneers de-aging. The next example will be Samuel L. Jackson and Clark Gregg as Nick Fury and Agent Coulson respectively, being de-aged in the upcoming Captain Marvel. The film takes place in the 90s, so the actors are being made to look 30 years younger. Without doubt, we're going to start to see much more frequent use of de-aging as the years go by. Suddenly, older actors that might very well have been passed up for a role because they're now too old might find themselves back in consideration again and competing with much younger actors thanks to the cosmetic enhancement that this technology offers. Now you might say, why would a film studio go to all that trouble and money on a single actor? Well, they're still going to need a real actor's performance to base the character on, regardless of how much CGI is layered over them. And additionally, spending such money might be worth it in the long run if it happens to be a big-name actor who will put butts in cinema seats versus a relatively young, unknown actor. Also, this could be a huge opportunity for reunion films and sequels to old classics, with actors able to return to roles they played decades ago. If we've learned anything from modern Hollywood sequels, prequels, and reboots, there's big money in nostalgia. But as for bringing deceased actors back with CGI and using their likeness to recreate characters from years ago, I'm genuinely not sure how I feel about that actually. Beyond being an impressive technical achievement, the ethics of it I'm still a little bit unsure of. Sure, you can get permission from the family, but that doesn't mean the actor themselves would ever have consented to the role in the first place. There's something about it I just find a bit tacky. Now, obviously, I don't mean in the case of someone like Paul Walker who died during the making of a film he was actually working on. I'm specifically referring to deceased actors having their likeness brought back to be used in new films they never agreed to be part of in the first place. Anyway, let me know what you think of these examples of CGI de-aging technology, and comment below with any others I may have forgotten to include in this video. Thanks very much for watching, be sure to subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.